You're listening to the Vox Media Podcast Network.
What's up, everyone? Jose Young's here, MMA fighting for the A side at your usual time. Sitting next to me, cameraman extraordinaire Casey Leydon. Is this your A side debut?
It's my A-side debut. It is not my video debut. I've been on some awesome fight night post shows and a couple pre-shows, but for the A-side, you know, when they bring out the best, well, the best caught in sick, and now I'm here.
So you're not an unfamiliar face, but for this one, obviously, we're going to read the questions live, and then we'll answer them. We'll answer your questions. You can hit the hashtag the A side, or you can leave a comment in the comment section below. We're obviously going to answer the green questions first, but Esther, off camera. First question we got.
Oh, hello. Your first question is retirements. The talk of the town this week has been about the recent retirements of some bigger names in MMA. Please be so kind to shed your light on this, and do you think any of these fighters could have continued in another weight class? Thanks, guys, from Rob Holland.
Yeah, so Casey, as you've obviously seen, Alexander Gustafsson retired after his loss to Anthony Smith. On that same card, Jimi Manuwa announced his retirement a few days later after his violent knockout loss to Alexander Rakic. Is that pronounced? Rakic. And then King Mo, obviously not a UFC fighter, but
also on the card, Nick Hein.
And Nick Hein, he also retired. So 4 retirements, 3 in the same weight class. Your thoughts?
Wait, 3 retirements on one UFC card? Is that a record?
That's a good question. I would imagine so.
We'll call it Mike Bond. See if he can get some numbers on that. But so we get four name retirements this weekend. The one that didn't come as a surprise at all was King Mo.
Yeah.
I'm just. What was the question? If a different weight class would have been a possibility? Is that what?
Yeah, basically, like would have a different weight class and shed some light on our thoughts on the recent retirements.
I was always hoping Mo would drop to 185. He's not a big 205er. He maybe walks around at 215 at best when he's fat. But Mo's 38. He's had so many injuries. He's like, I don't know if he ever truly fought his full potential, without any injuries. So I get Mo, and it looks like Mo's in a good place at where's it, ATT?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. They say he's gonna be a coach down there, and that's super. So I'm really happy for him. I'm happy. I'm happy he left after seeing his last knockout in Ryzen. It's just I'm bummed. I'm bummed that he never got the fight we never got to see him at his peak for a long time. But other than him going to 185, I think it was too late in his career to really make a big difference.
And he actually told our new coworker Damon Martin that he can't even jog without being in pain. So, and he is 38. He's like, I'm 38. I have kids. I can't even jog. I can't do this anymore. And it bums me out that his only championship and he won Strikeforce championship, but then it was vacated, right? Because
he won. Then he lost to Fei Zhao.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then people look back.
But he, what card he won it on? It was the big Strikeforce Nashville card.
That's right.
When he beat
Gegard.
Gegard, yeah. Not the most exciting fight, but he beat Gegard. And that's in a giant feat. And go in the archives, and one of my favorite moments I've ever been part of in the sport is I was shooting with Eric Hawani.
Oh, the one who was crying backstage.
Yeah, and Strikeforce gave us access to backstage, and we interviewed Mo backstage when his legs were all messed up from the fight. He had caught going for a takedown. He caught big elbows, so his eye was just
was
blown
he wearing
up.
Sunglasses? And he was laying on the ground, and he got super emotional. Yeah. I remember that.
And it was just and those were one of those moments in the sport where I was like, oh man, these are real people. This isn't at home we're violence, yeah, just bleed, but for these guys, it meant so much more than just that paycheck that we're getting, and I felt that, and I was just happy I was there. I'm happy we got to document it, and happy that everyone can still see it.
He also headlines the only Bellator's first pay-per-view against King Rampage.
Right, which you got robbed.
Yep,
he was robbed.
Yep, and then he won the rematch, but we never got that trilogy. So you would say him crying in the background your most
Up
memorable
there,
moment?
there.
Because you were right there. In terms of my fighting, he did win the Ryzen, like that first Grand Prix they had, right? The heavyweight one.
Sengoku.
That's right. You're right.
Sengoku.
But he did win the Grand Prix at Ryzen, didn't he?
I don't know if he won a Grand Prix. Did you win a Grand Prix?
Well, according to he won the two. He fought 2 times in one day at Ryzen heavyweight Grand Prix final. And then
the Ryzen one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went and fought Phil Davis at like light heavyweight, and then he got knocked out by Ryan Bader in the heavyweight tournament. He said he was going to drop down to middleweight, and he didn't, and he stayed at light heavyweight, and he lost again. Now he's calling it a career. But any other thoughts on not just King Mo, but like Jimi Manuwa and also Alexander Gustafsson?
Gustafsson won that one. I think I'm in the same opinion that I think Anthony Smith said about when Anthony Smith was asked about Gus retiring. He's like, dude, he's still good. I mean, it was a very competitive fight till I got him, Anthony Smith's like, I'm really good. So just because this guy's not maybe the best, he's still really good. So unless Gustafsson unless he's just really afraid of those long-term injuries like CTE, or he's just way more injured than he's really letting on, I'm bummed he's retiring because I think he still has a lot more. But like I said, like this ain't a sport where you want to do it half-assed. So like if the guys went out, go out. And Jimi Manuwa, I mean, I think he's 39.
I believe so.
Yeah, 39. Two horrible big knockouts back to back. Hey, bro, you had a good ride. Time. I guess if you want to move on in life, do it. And I think Nick Hein's got a lot of things going on in his life. So he's like an actor in Germany or something.
Alexander Gustafsson, he is like a new, like not a brand new dad, but I think I believe, I can't remember if it's he had a boy or a girl, but his child is pretty young, and maybe he is scared of it. I remember him proposing to his girlfriend in the ring, or in the octagon, I should say, after one of his, I believe the Glover Teixeira.
And Glover, yeah.
Yeah. And he told Luke Thomas on the MMA Hour, if he can't beat Anthony Smith, maybe I don't have it anymore. He said that weeks before they fought. So when he announced his retirement, I wasn't overly surprised, just because he did tease it like weeks in advance. And it sucks for the light heavyweight division. It was already shallow, and now they lost 2 fighters that, like, Gustafsson and Manuwa are always really good. Like, if you have those international UK shows, like, they could headline or they could be in the co-main event, and now they lose 2 light heavyweights. So it's rough for that division as a whole, especially it's as shallow as it already was.
I'm always kind of doing no adjustment. I'm always kind of bummed unless Gus is leaving for undisclosed injury reasons, like CTE, he doesn't want to talk about it publicly, which is fine, I get, or just chronic back problems. Like, to leave any position you're in, like just being a camera guy or editor, if I'm the 10th best person in the world at what I do it till the wheels fall off. Like, if you're the 10th best shortstop,
right?
You do it forever. You're 10th best, whatever, in any sports. But for some reason, fighting, if you're not that top number 2 or 3, number 1, number 2, number 1 or number 2, it's a weird sport, like, where you just like, nah, like, the money isn't worth it, which is crazy. Like,
he's also he's failed to win the championship 3 times and twice to the reigning champion. So maybe I obviously can't speak for him. But like, say John Jones.
But like when the Buffalo Bills, when they lost like
4 in a row.
4 in a row.
Yeah.
Did Jim Kelly retire?
But the thing is, like, they could keep making the championship. Like, they could keep making the Super Bowl. Like, it's hard to give, as long as John Jones is the champion. Like, I don't think Alexander Gustafsson's getting another shot. And I don't see John Jones losing anytime. So maybe Alexander Gustafsson feels the same way. Like, he's already lost to the 2 best light heavyweights probably ever. Like, so is he just going to be stuck as the 3rd best? Maybe he just doesn't want that.
And Gustafsson might have the most unique, fight finder records you're ever going to find. This, in the sense that probably his 2 best performances, in my opinion, his 2 best performances in his entire UFC career were in losses.
Yeah.
And that's just a weird.
Well, I
can't think of any other fighter you can say that for. Like, oh, if you want to watch how good this guy is, watch these fights that he lost.
Yeah, I mean, he dropped Daniel Cormier hard in I believe the Houston one. Mm-hmm. I left that fight thinking that was the best fight I've ever seen. But I also said the same thing when he fought John Jones. And then he goes and just starches Glover Teixeira, and like he basically pitches a perfect game against Glover Teixeira and knocks him out with those uppercuts.
I poke.
Fair. Anyway, anything else you want to say about Jimi Manuwa, Alexander Gustafsson?
happy trails, guys. I think we had some good times, and enjoy the rest of.
They are teammates too, so all stars, both light heavyweights at all stars.
Yeah.
The next question is from LFMWA. The future of the flyweight division if Cejudo wins. Do you think they shutter the division if Cejudo wins the bantamweight title this weekend?
I don't think so. I mean, they have other flyweight fights happening, and Joseph Benavidez was on the MMA Hour saying Dana basically said that the rematch between him and Formiga is already the #1 contender fight, and he didn't. When Luke asked him like, "What's beneficial for you, Henry winning or losing?" and he kind of was like, that's a really good question. Joseph Benavidez said that if Henry does lose, like maybe that gives him a reason to come back down and defend his title. But again, if he wins, is that good for the flyweight division that they have a championship that is charismatic, can beat bantamweights and everything, but will go on these maybe title defenses at bantamweight. So, Casey, will they shutter? Do you think they'll shutter the flyweight division if Henry wins the bantamweight title, the UFC bantamweight title? I don't think so.
If he wins?
Yeah. I don't think that's... If it does shutter, I don't think that's going to be like the final linchpin that's going to fall.
I don't think they're going to kill it, but I think it's going to be a dead division, kind of like the women's 145 division. Yeah, it's still around, but is it really around? It's technically it's there.
Yeah.
But they don't provide rankings for it. I mean, at some point, are there even going to be media rankings for the flyweight since they're cutting so many fighters? I think people said there's only
I'm looking it up right now.
Maybe 10 fighters.
There
left?
are 12 fighters in the UFC flyweight rankings outside of the champion Henry Cejudo. And you can see them all. They just keep moving up.
Yeah.
Like Matt Schnell is the number 12 ranked flyweight, and he's like the last flyweight in the division.
That's so you understand my point. Like, I don't think they're going to shut it because they don't want to shut it completely because that title fight, you can always put it as a co-main for a pay-per-view in case the main event falls out, or if they have UFC Beijing or something and they need a fight that matters,
right.
And to make the the money people in China happy and ESPN Plus people happy. So they're not going to shut it they're going to keep it open for matchmaking reasons, for fight card reasons, but I don't think it's a real. I don't think it's. Well,
they also have Alexander Pantoja and Figueiredo are also fighting. That's another flyweight fight. So like Joseph Benavidez was saying, like he noticed that a lot of people were being cut off of losses, and that was kind of how they're explaining it. But then like Figueiredo is coming off a loss, and he still has. Not only does he still have a job, he has a fight coming up. So. Joseph Benavidez said that for a while the waters were murky, and then as soon as Henry knocked out TJ, like talks of the flyweight division going away kind of cooled down. So maybe Henry Cejudo can keep the flyweight division afloat. I mean, he is a charismatic champion. Like people want to watch him do all this cringy stuff. You know what though? But Cejudo is a prize fighter, and if he beats Marlon, the money. I think there's going to be more money for him to his next fight to fight at bantamweight against
probably
whoever.
the winner of Sterling and Munoz or
Sterling Munoz.
Cody's always
I don't
popular.
know. Might throw Cody in there, but I don't care.
Maybe Dominic.
I want to see Cejudo Benavidez a lot.
Yeah,
a rematch. I really want to see that. I was hoping that was going to be the next fight.
Same.
But from a butts and seats perspective, which is what the UFC really cares about, if Henry wins, Henry versus Cruz or any of those guys, I think it's just a bigger fight.
It is a bigger fight. And I was hoping they would do Henry Cejudo versus Benavidez 2 for the flyweight title, and then the winner would basically get the bantamweight title shot between Marlon versus fill in blank.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Or probably Marlon versus Munoz.
Or Sterling. Sterling is ranked 1 high.
So actually, so in a weird way, I think the flyweight is actually in a worse spot if Cejudo wins.
Yeah, that's basically what Joseph Benavidez said. He might want to stick around at bantamweight because
the money's gonna be better probably.
I would imagine so. But they got another champ, and Henry can now have 2 titles and a gold medal.
Yeah. So that's my.
So I think we're in agreement. I don't think him winning is the reason it's going to fall apart, but I think him winning is less beneficial for the flyweight division.
But they won't shut the division down completely, but because it's going to be there just to fill in spots for important cards.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next question.
All right. Well, then I'll just move this over there. Shevchenko and Suarez are both huge favorites this weekend, but which one might take an L? Shevchenko is a minus 1,600 favorite over Jessica Ai, and Suarez is a minus 900 over Nina Ansaroff. Do these odds seem right to you? And if you had to pick one of these fighters to lose this weekend, who would you pick and why?
I am the wrong person to ask when it comes to betting odds and gambling and all that stuff. So whether to say the odds make sense, I'll leave that to you. But in terms of who I think Jessica Ai has a better chance of winning than Nina.
Really, I was gonna go the other way around.
Really?
I think Nina's got a much better chance of winning.
This is perfect. Why?
Just Nina's more. I think Nina, relative to the division, is just better than Jessica Ai. I think Jessica Ai, while of course she has a shot, I think Valentina has to make a serious mistake.
I would agree.
Like just a mistake. She has to make a very I'm just gonna throw this punch and just leave my hand here for a long time.
So you don't expect a Kamaru Usman performance from Jessica Ai where she just comes in and dominates the champion from the beginning to end.
Jessica Ai is gonna be able to. I'm
not saying like you don't.
No. And but Kamaru Usman was to me a 50-50 fight. I mean, Jessica Ai is I think she is very fortunate and it's just right time and place for her.
She did win 3 in a row. So she's not her fighting for the title makes sense. It's not like
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just don't. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited for the fight though because I think it gives Shevchenko something to play off. I talk, I love martial arts. I like when two guys are super respectful for each other. But sometimes I do like the Jessica Ai. It's just insane confidence she has despite losing how many times she lost.
And this is her first title defense again after winning the title from Ioana and Jędrzejczyk, who was a flyweight or strawweight champion, the former strawweight champion. So I am excited to see her face another actual flyweight they both fought at 135. So now they're coming down. So I personally think Jessica has a better chance. Tatiana, I think, is the best fighter in the strawweight division.
I think I want to see her against Tatiana could smoke Nina easily, but I just think Nina's. Has Nina really gotten in her past fights? Has she gotten just completely just washed?
No.
That's what I mean. I think it's always gonna be a tough fight for.
Both fights are tough. I've been more impressed with what Tatiana's been doing lately than Nina. Her actual performances in the she's been just dominating her opponents. She ran through Carlos Esparza, the inaugural UFC strawweight champion and former Invicta champion. Won tough. So I just think Tatiana I've been more impressed with what she's been doing of all the women that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I guess we're just having to fight. Yeah, I hate you. Why don't you agree with everything I say?
Do you think the winner of Tatiana and Nina deserves to fight for the title next? That seems to be
yes. Without a doubt, the winner of Suarez versus Ansaroff needs to fight the winner of Andrade versus Waterson.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm because you're very much on board with Michelle Waterson to fight for the strawweight title next.
Absolutely.
She's the most deserving, you think?
Deserving means nothing.
That's how I was
deserving
hoping
nothing.
you said that. That was a softball one.
Yeah. It's about she had the top 10 win. I think she has 2-3 victories now at consecutive victories at strawweight. I think Michelle is at her prime, maybe past her prime, but as far as she's not. I don't think she's gonna be getting any better. I think this is the time for Michelle to fight. She's peaking right now. I think peaking in popularity right now. And
she's by far the most popular of all 4 women.
Yeah, I think I even looked at their. I think I had this argument with our former colleague Shaheen.
Oh, that jabroni.
And he was very Suarez, and he was like, oh, Michelle. She's no one likes Michelle more than Suarez. And I looked at their Instagram. Michelle's got 2 million followers, and Suarez has I think 60,000.
Would she be, if she wins the title, would she be the first mom to be a UFC champion?
I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for her first mom to win.
That would be.
A mom hasn't won yet.
The storylines are there, and she's more popular, so it's hard to argue.
And I think, and once you get that top 10 win, which she got a dominant top 10 win over Carolina, I think pretty much as long as you have a win and you beat a top 10 fighter, you're good for a title shot. And right now the timing is right there. And then just have Suarez and Ansaroff just they fight and then just wait. and it's right there.
Strawweight division is very exciting, I must say.
I love the strawweight division.
It's been more like Joanna losing kind of opens a lot of doors. Then what if Andrade rematches Joanna though? Because Joanna does have that win over, like a dominant win over.
The fight I want to see, I don't think it makes sense, but just for selfish reasons, if Suarez wins, I want to see Suarez Joanna.
Yeah,
that's the fight
I want to see Suarez versus fill in blank. I think there's a lot of matchups that I would like to see how she does. But anything else you want to say about these 4 women? What do you think about the odds? Like, I'm not the best person to ask about opening odds and stuff.
I mean, they make sense because
Valentina minus 1,600.
Okay,
Suarez is minus 900.
Right. Yeah, if I had $100,
right.
Yeah. So I mean, I would never put money on those type of odds because that's just ridiculous. But I can see how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if it was a pick and fight, oh yeah, I go Suarez. Oh yeah, I go Shevchenko.
Right.
So
this question is again from Rob Holland, who has asked a lot of questions.
Go, Rob. How you doing, Rob?
The people's main event this weekend, Ferguson versus Cowboy. It is a big discredit that this is a 3-round fight. Is this perhaps the biggest fight not to be awarded a full 5 rounds? And what other fights can you recall that stand out as missed opportunities to be 5-rounders?
Okay. A quick note about the whole 3-round versus 5-round thing. The UFC could totally make this a 5-round fight, by the way. Just completely make this 5-round fight. Problem is, well, they don't want to because it affects the pay-per-view time. But I don't know, is that even a thing anymore?
It's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I don't think that used to be a big thing. Like, you can't go past a certain time limit, but now it's not. So I'm not sure why. But essentially, if you're a fighter, you want to get paid more for a 5-round fight. That is, 40% more training, 40% more chance of injuries, 40% more wear and tear in your body for that training camp, and 40% more damage in the actual fight of a possibility. So I completely get why most fighters, unless you're going to get paid for it, don't want to fight 5 rounds. But as a selfish fan that doesn't care about fighters or their bank accounts, I wish this was 7 rounds. Like, 5 rounds isn't enough.
I just want to see these guys this is a fight like when we were talking before we were going to the Korean Zombie versus Yair Rodriguez fights, like, take the octagon title implications, everything out. I just want to see these guys spar or fight or whatever. Yeah. This is just a high-level, violent martial art matchup. This is the kind of fights that I love. Like, I don't care about who gets the title fight after that. I just want to see these 2 fight.
Yeah. What's the question? Like, should this be is this a missed opportunity?
And are there other fights you can think of that are missed opportunities for 5 rounds?
Yeah, Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. Coming up at UFC 241, right? 241 Anaheim. That could be a 5-round main event for sure, but what you gonna do? I mean, it's welterweight. They're both like Anthony Pettis looks great at welterweight, obviously after his knockout of Wonderboy, and Nate Diaz hasn't fought since he lost. Like, he himself is like, I won my last fight, but looking at the record, he obviously lost. So that's one that immediately sticks out in my head. Conor versus Dustin Poirier could have headlined that card way back in the day. I know Conor was still like relatively new, but he was still a big deal.
So that would have been over the title fight.
I don't know if
over DJ versus Chris Carriazo.
I don't know if that
was that the card.
Yeah. Because if you look at that card, that also had Eddie Alvarez versus Cowboy, that had Kat Zingano versus Amanda Nunes, that had Dominic Cruz versus Takeo Mizugaki, Yoel Romero versus Tim Kennedy. Like, those are all fights that could have been awesome for 5 rounds. So any one of those would have been great. Yeah,
I mean, there's dozens of fights you can probably go, oh, just too bad that didn't go more rounds. Too bad that wasn't 5 rounds, but I can't really think of them right now.
I think the first Lyoto Machida, Dan Henderson, that was the co-main event of Ronda, Liz Carmouche. I remember there was a lot of people upset that was the co-main event. Like, obviously, the Ronda should have headlined but it was her first UFC fight. She was really popular, but...
Was it Ronda versus who?
Liz Carmouche.
That was the main event.
No, I'm saying people were upset that Dan Henderson and Lyoto was the co-main event at the time.
What?
Because then Dan Henderson was supposed to fight John Jones, and then that fell apart. So he was basically risking his number 1 contendership against Lyoto Machida, and then they fought, and then Lyoto Machida won a very narrow decision. But I remember leading up to that.
There were other fights in that card?
There were.
Nah.
People were very upset that Lyoto Machida versus Dan Henderson was the co-main event.
Alex Cayley would like to interrupt you, Casey, and let you know that a 5-round fight is actually 67% more training than a 3-round fight.
He's very good at math.
Yeah. His brain's clicking on all cylinders with his Toronto Raptors fever. But I remember the.
But the point being, math using the math. What is math really? It takes a lot more training, and fighters want to get paid more for a 5-round fight. So, wait, go on.
That was gonna let you do.
Oh, okay. This is here's a question from Twitter. Aaron asks.
Aaron who? What's the Aaron guy?
Aaron from Toronto asks, can Poirier beat Nurmi? And if so, how? I want to believe.
We were actually talking about this before we even got on air. We both agreed that he has to do what no one else has been able to do, and that is stop the takedown. And that's not stop the first takedown, not stop the second takedown, but continuously keep Khabib Nurmagomedov from doing what he's proven to be arguably the best at inside the octagon.
So the question is, can he do it? Yes, he can do it.
He has the capabilities, but will he do it?
Yeah, I can do it. Am I going to do it though?
Khabib versus Casey next. Yeah. Yeah,
Are you shaking?
for sure not.
Shaking yes? No.
You just like ankle pick.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, I mean, but then Khabib could like.
I feel like you're representing all the people on the internet.
I said I
I
can.
Stand them up, ref.
Like a man. You know what though? But Dustin is so dang good right now that. I fully expect Khabib to win, but I want to see it happen. I want to see. That's the fun part. Is like, can Khabib still do it over and over and over again? Because that's what's so awesome. Because you know his game plan. You know Khabib's game plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, probably simple 1-2s, a few overhands. You know, the threat. You know, you have a little threat to stand up. Now that's what got Conor. You know, but you know his game plan, and like that's what's so incredible. You know his game plan, and you know what he's gonna do. And that's all your training camp for. That's all you're training for, and you still can't stop it. So eventually, someone will stop it. But is Dustin the guy? And oh my man, can you imagine the upset to do this to get that upset in Abu Dhabi, or like if there's gonna be if there's ever like a hometown crowd, it's gonna be for Khabib in Abu Dhabi. That's
hostile territory, right?
I mean, the fact that they're having the pay-per-view at Abu Dhabi time. Not doing this whole like, hey, sheiks, show up at 3 a.m. to watch fights. You know, no, this is for them. This is one of those rare pay-per-views. It's actually for that live audience right there. It's not for the TV audience. It's for that live audience. Like when UFC went to Sweden for lots of cards. When I remember seeing Gustafsson, Rumble versus Gustafsson.
Super early over there.
They walked out. Probably 3 a.m. and they had stopped serving liquor. I think 3 or 4 hours before that. So by that point, the crowd was just tired. They had just watched 15 minutes of Ryan Bader versus Phil Davis. Two great fighters, horrible matchups.
Yep.
And for some reason that was a rematch. Well, I don't know why they.
They rematched in Bellator.
No, that was. That was the first fight.
Yeah, that was the first fight.
Oh, I can't.
Because then they fought for the title.
And it sucked. It was
at
like
MSG.
Yeah, and it's still both of them. Excited. Yeah, they're just both of them are like this is just we don't match up well. But point being, those fights, even though that fight was for the Swedish crowd, they still made him show up at 3 a.m. to watch their boy fight. For a B, oh yeah, knocked out.
He actually walked out a little after 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
So remember the press conference started at 5 a.m.
Good God.
I'm gonna like memories, but Khabib is the fact that they're doing a pay-per-view at the local time for Khabib. They're doing it for Khabib, and so it will be one. Betting wise, it won't be the biggest upset by far. I mean, but I think for the crowd and for what's on the table for the Abu Dhabi market.
Do you think that Dustin Poirier will be Khabib's like toughest challenge that he's fought inside the octagon?
Who would you say is toughest challenge?
Prior to this, probably Conor, Edson Barbosa, or RDA. Well, Edson and RDA, I believe, were 3-round fights, and Conor was he finished him in the 4th round.
Yeah,
but Dustin's been on. Look at
I think Dustin without a doubt is a tougher fighter than Conor.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt, it's a tougher fight. So I would have no issue saying this is gonna be the toughest fight for Khabib. I still expect Khabib to win. I expect it to probably be probably just a grinding decision, which is gonna be exciting in the moment. But if you kind of rewatch it later without the stakes involved, it's just gonna be like, oh, that guy's holding another guy down for 25 minutes.
Do you think Dustin is the best striker that Khabib's ever fought? Because he has fought Conor, and Edson Barbosa, like we were saying before we got on there, is a good striker in the sense of kickboxing.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so. I would say we were talking earlier. I think Conor in the first 3 minutes of a fight, he's the best striker. At lightweight, in the first 3 or 4 minutes, by far. But over time, in the 5th round, in the 3rd round, the 4th round, when your gas tank is now at 30%, 40%, I definitely believe Dustin is the most dangerous striker past the 1st round.
He doesn't. Does
that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. His fight,
and that's very important. That's very important for Khabib, because Khabib's not a guy who's probably going to finish in the 1st round unless he lands the overhand. But what I'm very excited to see too is Dustin Poirier. Conor has that window where he said he kind of when he fought Floyd Mayweather and got finished in his press conference, he's I have this window where I just get really tired, and that was his downfall against Nate, and then he kind of overcame that in the rematch, and then he didn't overcome it against Floyd. Dustin, when he fought Max, when he won the interim title, he tried to finish him really fast in the 1st round. And after that 1st round, I was like, man, Dustin's probably just used all of his energy. And then they fought 5 rounds, and he didn't slow down at all. Yep. So Dustin Poirier's cardio is going to... I'm very curious to see how this person with extreme cardio fares against Khabib's grinding top-heavy style. That has not proven that he just gets all of his energy drained after the 2 rounds. And it's a different type of cardio. It's not like a Max Holloway cardio where it's a volume cardio.
Right.
Dustin's got a cardio where when that 4th round comes, those punches still hurt. They're coming so heavy. Those right hands hurt.
His fight against Anthony Pettis was very back and forth, both very bloody, and it was all grappling on the ground.
The Gaethje fight. That wasn't that I think it was the 3rd round. 3rd or 4th.
See. I believe it was in the later rounds.
But Poirier got hit hard early in that fight. I remember what point you thought Gaethje was going to win that fight, and he recovered. A lot of eye
pokes in that fight. Yeah. 4th round.
So 4th round. So all that power, he's still a devastating power in the 4th round. That's something Conor never had. And I think even Edson, especially if you grind him down, he won't have that power walking out in that 3rd round if he's taken 2 hard rounds before that.
No, dating back to 2017, which was his first fight after the Michael Johnson loss, he beats Jim Miller, fights Eddie Alvarez to a no contest, finishes Anthony Pettis, finishes Justin Gaethje, finishes Eddie Alvarez in the rematch, and then takes the featherweight champion Max Holloway to decision. Say he beats Khabib. Is that the greatest run of victories in UFC history?
At lightweight, man, that's a hell of a run.
Just in general?
I got to think more about that.
John Jones' 2011 was super impressive. That's the first one that jumps out at me. And then not UFC related, but I believe it was at that 04 Grand Prix that Shogun won. That was also ultra impressive.
Dustin's run would be extremely unique for a guy, because Shogun before that and John Jones, those guys weren't coming off devastating losses.
That's right, yeah.
Or anything. Dustin, I wouldn't say Dustin was left for dead as far as a title challenger, mm-hmm. But he's the guy that got flatlined a couple of times.
He got flatlined by Michael Johnson in Hidalgo, Texas.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of lightweight, I think it's 100%. But in terms of just UFC history, it is way up there. But that John Jones where he beats Bader, and then Shogun, Rampage, Yodo, that was super impressive to me.
It's fun to think about, but he still has to do the hardest part.
Yeah,
he has to beat Khabib. Yeah, because I was saying that about Anthony. I was pretty much saying the same thing about Anthony Smith a few months ago. If he beats John Jones, it would be one of the most incredible career renaissances I've ever seen. A guy that was under 500 for a time, but he still has to beat John Jones, and right now, he still has to beat Khabib, and that's the thing. So it's a it's almost too hypothetical to even talk about at this point.
Do you think beating Khabib's harder than beating John Jones?
Yes.
It's a good answer.
Yes.
It's the correct answer.
Yes.
All right.
You know, because we're rambling, we only want to talk for an hour because we have other things to do. So you need to give us like, hey, like.
We have another question from Twitter from Eduardo.
Oh, Eduardo. Is he handsome?
I bet he has a mustache.
He does.
That's a very handsome man. Eduardo, sounds sexy.
Who is the biggest, most highly ranked MMA fighter you think Cejudo would still crush? So try to go up in weight classes and think, who could Cejudo still be in a higher weight class?
Wow, so like we do all of the heavyweight.
Okay.
This is if they're all the same size.
No.
No.
Basically, are we saying can Cejudo beat CM Punk? Is that what we're saying?
Well, because people have always watched MMA or loved jiu-jitsu because the idea that the smaller person can win, right? So can Cejudo beat someone bigger than him?
Because
Cejudo could be Marlon.
Could Cejudo beat Gokensaki? Could he take Gokensaki down?
Wow. Wow.
Like style-wise. Of course, if it's, stand-up, of course, yeah, you get demolished.
Gokensaki, the one that tried to fight Mark Hunt at heavyweight?
Yeah.
Wow. I never knew I wanted to see that fight until now.
But heaviest guy. I mean, I think.
Do you think
I think Cejudo could beat. I think Cejudo could beat some.
You think he beat Jeremy Stevens?
No, yeah. I just
That's
don't.
featherweight. Like
Yeah.
I just went up 2 weight classes. Like Yair is super tall for featherweight. Like maybe Darren Elkins.
I don't think Cejudo can beat anyone in the top 40 at featherweight.
Wow.
I mean, that's just. I mean, I don't think DJ could do it either. I still think DJ is the best flyweight in the world. That's another story.
That's a whole
story, but I think Cejudo. We're gonna find out where he is at bantamweight. Like right now, I think Cejudo is like a top 10 bantamweight.
Your answer could change after his fight against Marlon.
Yeah.
Like if he just say it's 5-round decision and Cejudo just dominates, like 50-45s, a couple 50-44s in there. Like
if he can beat Marlon, like no one's ever beaten Marlon, and it's besides early in his career when he was training in Brazil. WSOF, post WSOF, Marlon Moraes.
Pre WSOF, you mean?
Post.
Okay.
No, pre W. He was a kind of a mediocre fighter before. Remember, he lost like his first whatever. But if Cejudo can really like win this Saturday, that changes. But right now, I've seen Cejudo lose a couple of times already. He's not.
Well, his fight against Benavidez that was a tight decision.
It was a super tight decision. I thought Benavidez won, but obviously, I mean, it was a super close fight, and that's why I want to see the rematch. But am I thinking Benavidez is a top 45? I mean, could he compete at 45? No, he's at 25 for a reason because he's too small to be at the top, to be an elite 35er. He'll be a contender at bantamweight, Benavidez, which I think Cejudo is still. I think Cejudo is a contender at bantamweight. Like Demetrius. Demetrius was a contender at bantamweight, but they weren't the best at bantamweight. And I think Cejudo is the same thing. And I think that's what we're going to find out Saturday too.
I like your answer. It's a smart answer. All right, Nathan.
Okay. A question from Milo on the website here. Should some fighters do less media? Are some guys just better off doing less media because they don't come across well?
Was this an attack on Cejudo and his cringe whatever thing?
Yeah. I would imagine.
Because I love it. I love
Yeah, there's a in the middle. I cut out the middle sentence. Sorry, Milo. Which is, at the start of the week, I didn't really mind Cejudo, but his promotion this week on Embedded and other places has really started to annoy me.
We're talking about him, so it's working.
Now, Milo, are you watching these Cejudo interviews and these Cejudo Embedded and going, you know what? I'm not going to watch this fight now. I'm not going to pay $60 to watch this guy get his ass kicked. If that's the answer, you're not going to watch it, then yes, he is talking too much. But you're going to watch. You're going to hope he gets his ass kicked. So whatever Cejudo is doing, it is working because Cejudo is a prize fighter and he knows it now. Listen to his scrum we just had in
LA.
And he talked about he kind of
he had security there.
Yeah, security there. He had security there. I mean, he kind of broke kayfabe a bit when he was talking about like, oh, I'm just saying this because I want people to buy the pay-per-view. He kind of,
you can't do that.
I know you can't do that. I was like, just
Chael Sonnen was like,
But he basically said that. He's like, I want people to watch pay-per-view. I want people to watch me get my ass kicked or watch me, F up this guy. So the answer is no, Milo.
Jose.
If we're talking specifically about Henry Cejudo, no, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Because we're talking about it for a reason, and Henry's the big issue with Demetrius Johnson was that he wasn't great with the media, and there was always oh, he's the most dominant champion, but no one cares when he fights. I mean, when he set the record for most title defenses, he did it in the co-main event below an interim lightweight fight. So I think Henry Cejudo saw that, and he's well, I got to do something differently. So he's doing his part. So if we're talking specifically about Henry Cejudo, no, he should just keep doing what he's doing.
All right. We have a question from Tragic Bronson on Twitter. Jimmy Rivera versus Pierre Yan. I feel there's more to lose for Jimmy than Pierre. Does Pierre Yan win, put him in line for the next title shot, since we're on bantamweight right here? And where does a loss leave Jimmy Rivera, who suffered a 30-second KO to the man fighting for the vacant belt this weekend?
I think Jimmy obviously has more to lose because he's 1-2 in his last 2 fights. He got head kicked by Marlon in Utica. And then he lost to Aljamain Sterling, to answer the other part of the question, will Peter Yan deserve the next one? I think the winner of Aljamain Sterling versus Pedro Munoz should fight for the title. And Aljamain was trying really hard to get that title shot over Cejudo to begin with, and then Munoz coming off that KO of former champion. So I don't think Peter Yan will get the next title shot, but he'll maybe be another win away. I mean, he's looked unbelievable in the octagon, but Jimmy Rivera for sure has more to lose against a hot prospect like Peter Yan.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jimmy Rivera seems to be in that the high level gatekeeper, not the if you can beat Jimmy Rivera, that means you're pretty much good enough to fight for a title shot pretty soon. This isn't going to be Peter Yan. No matter what he does to Jimmy Rivera this Saturday, he won't get a title shot because I just don't think he deserves it over Jimmy Rivera. But this is a very. I'm very surprised Jimmy Rivera took this fight, but more props to him. But he absolutely has the most to lose.
Jimmy Rivera does have a win over Pedro Munoz too. So if Pedro Munoz beats Aljamain Sterling, and he's obviously should get the next title fight, but Jimmy Rivera should want Pedro Munoz to beat Aljamain Sterling because Aljamain Sterling has a win over him. He has a win over Pedro Munoz. So there's a lot. Jimmy Rivera has a lot of things that need to go his way if he wants to jump back in that title picture. So it's because that fight against Aljamain was dated back a long time. They both said they've been thinking about each other since they were on the regional circuit in New York. So him to lose that rivalry, and it wasn't a knockout, it was a decision.
He lost it pretty handily.
Yeah, 100%. It wasn't a close decision whatsoever, and Aljamain just happens to be clicking at all cylinders lately. So Jimmy Rivera has more to lose, and he's not going to be in the title picture unless a lot of things go his way.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Denny Soros on Twitter.
What?
Denny Soros. Denny, Denni, and then Soros, like a dinosaur.
Oh, Denny Soros.
Denny Soros. Is light heavyweight finally getting spicy again?
It's definitely we were talking about the little off air too. It's definitely super an interesting division where you're seeing this massive departure from the old guard, and you're seeing a giant influx of middleweights coming up. I am super curious how Luke Rockhold looks against Jan Blachowicz at UFC 239, because if he just runs through it, obviously the Anthony Smith fight is there. Corey Anderson's been chomping at the bits to get back in the octagon. And Ovince St. Bruce coming off that loss too. So we're seeing a lot of these fighters leave and this huge influx of exciting fighters come in. So it's definitely gone spicy just because there's a lot of new names. Plus we have an active champion in John Jones who wants to fight the challengers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Light heavyweight rules right now.
Mm-hmm.
We can do, that's another question, debating how we want to match them up. But right now you have Reyes, Ratchik, and Walker. Rakic. You have Reyes, Rakic,
Johnny Walker,
and Walker. Right now, to me, those are the 3 premier prospects. But there's other guys there too. And you also have Rockhold, Smith right there. We don't know if Santos is going to do. He might. Yeah. I don't expect him to win, but who knows? It could be competitive. What's Chris Weidman? Is Chris Weidman? Is he going back to 85? What happened?
Yeah, he said he would fight Jack Hermanson at middleweight, but Jack Hermanson's kind of moved on from that, so we don't know yet.
Yeah, I really wish.
If he jumps up to light heavyweight, that's another.
Yeah, I really wish he would go up, but because I don't see. I think we just see him lose so many times now at middleweight. I don't think the UFC is just too hot on that. But to answer your question, Dinosaurus. Yes, the light heavyweight division is spicy.
And we still, Volkan Ozdemir and Latifi didn't get to fight. Like if Volkan, and a lot of people think Volkan beat Dominic Reyes in that last fight.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So if one judge reads that decision his way, he's on. Like Dominic Reyes is no longer.
And we have the resurgence of Ed Herman.
Ooh.
Ed Herman with the big victory back.
Sure. And then Shogun is still floating.
Shogun's still there. Yeah, Shogun's still there. You're right.
All right. This is kind of odd question, but I'm not sure. Dan Shapiro asks, since we can already purchase most media a la carte, why not fights? What are your thoughts on promoters offering individual fights for purchase, and could this also help deliver metrics to determine a specific fighter's value? How much would you pay just for Ferguson versus Cerrone?
In a 3-round fight or 5-round fight? I think that's the big thing.
That is not specified.
So if I pay for a 5-round fight, I don't know if I pay for a 3-round fight between them.
Would you pay full $60, or you pay $25? Would you pay? How about this? And would you pay $25 for one fight?
Tony Ferguson versus Donald Cerrone 5-round fight would be enough to get me to buy ESPN Plus if I was on the fence. If someone's like, "Oh, if you buy this, you get to watch just this fight," I'd be like, "All right, let's do it." But I don't know if I'd pay $25 for one fight.
But I think we would. The problem is that if you package it like that, it feels like you're only buying one fight. But I feel like most boxing pay-per-views,
that's what I was going to say. Like
you wind up paying $60 for essentially one fight. I mean, you have you pay your $60. Actually, it's $70 or $80 for boxing. You pay your $80 to watch a fight. Yeah, there's prelims on it, but you have a party. No one's really watching the prelims. Like, they're kind of watching, but no one's like sitting down really having big debates on the prelims or even the co-main event. Maybe the co-main event at best.
Yeah, the co-main event is always usually when I tune in.
Yeah, maybe, but I think we've done it a lot already in boxing. It's just, they would do it. I don't know. I don't think the UFC would ever do that, but why not?
Who was? Yeah, Danny Garcia fought in the co-main event of Mayweather Canelo. That's when I tuned it in because I wanted to see Garcia and Matisse really bad.
Yeah, but
yeah, I agree with you.
It'll be interesting. I don't see any reason why the UFC would do that, but I'll pay $25 to watch Cerrone versus Ferguson 3 rounds. Now, would you pay 20? I don't want to crap. I don't want to crap another fight.
But is it like $25 and that's a wrap? Like you don't get?
Yeah, one fight. Guys walk out, hand raise.
All right. Yeah.
I just hope by the victory.
$25 might be the most I pay.
All right, $25
for a non-title fight, probably.
No. No.
So
you're saying you would?
No, all right. For Ferguson versus Donald Cerrone is just such a good fight. Yeah, that might be one of the only fights I pay for a non-title fight. That fight is just like I said before. Like it's just a high-level martial arts. And I want to see that.
Would you pay $25 to watch Gaethje versus pretty much any top lightweight?
Probably.
Yeah. So I think the answer is yes. I would pay. I don't think you'll pay the full $60, but you'll pay a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Esther.
Rob Holland again, but there's a couple of true or falses. Okay, Gus makes a comeback, like Jones suspects.
Gus makes a comeback. False.
Faber wins and has another fight.
Wait, so it's 2 things.
False to losing, yes. True to having another fight. Or false to winning, but he also has another fight.
I think he loses.
So he's going to lose, but he's still going to fight again.
Yeah, he wants to fight TJ.
Oh.
I think he's going to want to, and I bet TJ would want to fight him.
That'd be great. Actually, I'm already kind of hyped for that fight. TJ versus Faber in 2 years. I'm down for that fight.
They're going to have to.
Or actually the fight I want to see, if we're going to do stupid fights, I want to see Faber go up to 150. And
150?
And if the UFC is not going to release BJ Penn.
Oh, no.
Faber versus BJ Penn at 150. If we're just talking fights at just Legends League, why not? What? If the UFC is not going to release Big Japan, he's going to fight till ever. This is a big. If they're not going to release him,
At least give him big names to fight.
yeah, big names are. Big Japan versus Faber at 150.
Why not just make it CM Punk 170?
I've said that many times.
At 170.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm in Chicago and it feels like I'm kind of shitting on Punk by saying that. But I like Punk.
Yeah, so do I.
He's living his dream.
Jimi Manuwa gets an offer from Bellator and becomes a big player in their light heavyweight division.
No.
No.
Well, you know what? You might get an offer because Bellator does so many cards in the UK.
It's true.
So, but I don't think it'd be a big player. But I think he might get an offer. But I don't know how the contract stuff works. You can't just retire unless his contract's over. You can't just retire.
I was going to say, like, if he comes back, he might be contractually obligated to keep fighting for these.
Assuming, under the assumption he's a free agent right now, he retired being a free agent, yes, they will get an offer for a UK card. He won't be a big player. But it'd be cool seeing him fight in the UK.
Okay. True or false? Jessica I goes the distance with the champ.
True.
Okay. True or false? The winner of Ferguson Cowboy gets set aside for the return of Conor.
If Tony wins, he has to fight the winner of Khabib Poirier. I mean, Khabib was on, I don't remember what, someone interviewed over in his...
So if Cerrone wins, let's go. If Cerrone wins, let's
I
go.
bet Cerrone fights Conor.
Okay, I'll go true for that. You don't think the UFC is just gonna do whatever Conor wants?
I mean, I don't really want to think about it.
Yeah,
But Conor, there's new pay-per-view models. Like, a big question for Conor's future. He's not going to need pay-per-view points anymore. They don't want to pay Brock Lesnar like a flat rate. They're not going to pay.
Wow.
And Conor wants like part of the company. Like, there's a lot of questions out there that need to be answered before Conor even fights again.
Doesn't Conor already own the C in UFC? I thought
That's what he says.
Yeah. All right.
Any updates on Usman versus Colby?
Not to my knowledge. Because Usman just had like knee surgery, didn't he?
Yeah, surgery somewhere.
Because
Yeah.
he said his last few fights, he basically he was fighting with like a shattered, like a wrecked knee. And you saw him at the post-fight press conference. He came in on a wheelchair, and that wasn't because of what happened in the fight. That's just like his knee has been falling apart for a long time. So he finally got it cleaned up.
How the heck do you fight at the highest levels against someone like Woodley with one good leg?
Well, Woodley said that he basically fought with one hand because now he has arthritis in his. So he can't throw a punch.
So one knee versus one hand gone.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It's a fair fight then.
Yeah, it's a fair fight.
Science.
All right. Question from Peter.
Just Peter.
A Peter Carroll from Ireland.
Sounds like a Peter Carroll sounds like a fake name.
Will the next bantamweight contender be decided at 238?
Contender? Yeah, I would say so.
You think it's going to be between?
Bantamweight and Sterling Munoz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be decided this weekend.
I would hope so. What the UFC does is another story, but I would imagine so.
Dominic's out for a while, right?
Yeah, he had like shoulder.
Yeah, so Dominic's gone for a while. Cody's obviously out of the picture for a little bit. Am I missing somebody at the top?
Aljamain and Munoz are the only two that would make sense.
Yeah, I thought maybe I'm forgetting a name.
Unless Peter Yan just like skips the line.
I don't see, unless it's like a Russia card.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, so I'll say true.
Yeah, true.
No Kick, No Clan wants to know, what is the best Misfits album?
Static Age.
I will believe you.
I like Earth AD a lot because like they it has more of a hardcore sound, which is just more my preference. But I think overall it's just music. We'll go Static Age.
Okay. I actually want to bring up this question from Eduardo because I am curious.
Eduardo?
Yes.
Is he the handsome one?
Yes.
How this question look handsome? Does it sound
The question does sound handsome. If you had a $1 million budget to tell any MMA story, which one would you tell? This is for both of you, actually, because I am curious what if you could like go anywhere and interview anyone and write a story about them, who would it be?
Fighter? Just MMA.
MMA.
You go first. I got to think about it. You have a good answer.
I want to do a story. I want to do a real 30 for 30 on Shannon Rich. But not now, because I think I went to his Fight Finder. Right now he has 87 losses. I want to be there.
57 wins?
57. You know, I'm being so negative. I'm such a glass half empty guy.
Okay.
But he's 57 and like 87. Right? But I want to be there. I want to be there and document the road to his 100th loss. Because I think it's, and it might be all for nothing because he might win that fight. He might be, he might be 56-99 after that. But I just think someone doing this for this long and getting your weight cutting, going through the weigh-ins, talking to the media, walking out there in the Gladiator Challenge, King of the Cage, wherever, and then getting your ass kicked 99 times and doing it one more time. I just think that's an amazing story. And I'm really like, just as a media person, like they always bring us the winners after the fight, and like winners are cool, but like I'm always way more interested in the losers, to be honest. And there are no real losers in the sport, just the guy that didn't win. I mean, it sounds like I'm not trying to be like an asshole, but I think there's more. I always think there's more of a story in the other side of things. By the way, if you have Netflix, watch that series Losers. There's a whole docuseries called Losers, and it's very good.
I think Daniel Cormier would be an interesting one because he came up with the wrestling things and his whole, like, there's a lot of unhappy things that have happened in his life that a lot of fans don't know about. Or I've always heard from Brazilian media that Thiago Santos has a crazy childhood.
Really?
Like, he grew up in, like, a rough part of Brazil, and, like, a rough part of Brazil is... like someone once described, he's like, you ever seen that movie like City of God or City of Gold or whatever? I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, that's where Thiago Santos grew up. I was like, whoa, like I want to know more about that. So one of those two guys for sure, because they just seem like they have super interesting stories that I don't think enough people talk about.
Marlon has a story like Marlon comes from that kind of background too. So
one of those two guys for me.
We have a question from the chat, which normally we don't pull from because it's full of ridiculousness. Armando asks, hey guys, just curious what you guys think about Ali saying there's a GSP clause written in Khabib's contract. What does that mean?
I have no... Isn't GSP out of the USADA testing pool?
I have no idea.
Didn't he retire and he's like, it's like what? So if he wins, he gets to fight George? What, at 150? Like George would cut to 155?
Does that mean GSP has a clause that only GSP has? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what that means.
Oh, so
I'm not sure what it's referring to.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a mystery. Yeah, I have no idea.
I know Khabib really wants that fight, and Nate was on Ariel's show saying that the UFC wanted to do like a 4-man tournament with like him, Khabib, Conor, and someone else, maybe Tony. I can't remember, but
so a 4-man tournament.
George. It was like George, Conor, Nate, and Khabib or something like that. They wanted to do like this 4-person tournament, and the winners would fight. So like theoretically, we could have had like Nate Diaz versus George St. Pierre in the finals of this tournament, or Conor versus Joe. I don't know what the first round matchups would be, but I assumed Conor would rematch Nate in the first round, and then maybe George would fight Khabib in the first round, and then the winner of those two would move on.
Yeah, I don't have very much interest.
George really wants that fight.
Yeah, because it's big paychecks, and I get that. But as someone like, I don't get more money for covering those fights than I do for this fight. So like, I don't really.
Yeah, I just want to see Tony versus Khabib more than anything, honestly.
I want to see more Gaethje. I'm a big Gaethje guy.
Do you think Tony Khabib will ever happen? It seems crazy.
I'm not going to say yes, because if I say yes, it won't happen.
Will it happen as a non-title fight sometime?
Don't. I'm going to say it'll never happen, to put it out in the world, because every time I get excited about it, it doesn't happen. And I was on when I did the show with the old host, Sean. He was like, oh, what do you think of these matches? Like, I don't think any fight is happening until they're in the octagon. That's how jaded I am. So I don't think it'll ever happen, just because I've played with fire too much and it's burned me too many times.
I think there's a good chance it happens. It's the next fight for both of those guys.
One can hope. One can dream.
All right. Well, it's 1:00. So I will. There's one more question.
Any good questions?
No. I'm just kidding. No. Just a comment from Twitter from Dennis Orris again. Just wanted to know, Casey, because Casey is full of these. The time has come. What is your hottest MMA take? And please don't get me fired.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's just.
Hottest MMA take. Man, I don't know. I can't.
I have so many. And then when you're on the spot, it's like, so you open the fridge. What do I want to eat?
Yeah, I want everything.
All right. Otherwise, I'm going to interrupt you. and ask another question.
Yeah, give me a little bit more. God dang, I got stuff too.
Hit me.
I can't think of it right now. I went blank because we're kind of going over everything.
Do you think Chris Cyborg's gonna come back to the UFC?
Yes.
Who's
Resign to the UFC.
resign?
Wait, is the Spencer fight not official? Is that?
No, it's official.
Oh, it is official.
Yeah.
So it is happening.
Yeah, but she was on her podcast saying that's the last fight of her.
Oh.
So I think that's what they might be asking.
Oh, will she resign after?
I don't think so.
I think
I think she's gonna go to one or Bellator.
I was gonna actually that was my hot take kind of a little bit. I was gonna talk about the women's 45 division and how I think well if Holly beats Nunes, I hope that the rematch is gonna be at 45. So
Between Amanda and Cyborg.
no between Amanda and Holly at 45 because Holly Holly can take both her belts.
Oh my gosh! So
I just but if Nunes wins, I want Nunes. I think the Cyborg Spencer fight is just dumb. Spencer just beat Megan, dominated her. Like if that was Cyborg that beat Megan that way, or that was any other fighter, or that was Holly that beat Megan that way, or Nunes that beat Megan that way, you'd be like, oh, title shot or whatever. But since it was Spencer, we kind of like. Because she doesn't look the part, honestly. She's kind of big smile, kind of doesn't not this ripped person.
Doesn't look getting off the bus.
Yeah,
as you would say.
But I really wish they did Nunes versus Spencer.
But then, what if in this scenario, Holly beats Amanda for the bantamweight title, and then they rematch at featherweight, and then Amanda wins the featherweight title? Now they're 1-1 in 2 different weight classes. They both still have belts. It's just a crazy scenario. It's just anarchy.
Well, when you do double champ stuff, this is the situation you're always going to have.
It's very true.
Because eventually, yeah, they're double champs, but how are they not going to be double champs? And that's what creates all the, especially when you have someone like Holly. The most ridiculous fight ever that was booked was Holly versus Megan Anderson. Why was that fight ever booked? What did it mean? Nothing.
Nothing.
So
nothing at all.
So Cyborg, no, not resigning.
Yeah.
She's gonna take.
Oh, she'll fight. She'll fight
Spencer, and then that'll be it.
And a fight that means. I have no idea why they're fighting because if Cyborg beats Spencer, which I think she will, actually I think Spencer has a better chance of being Nunes than Cyborg. But if Cyborg beats Spencer, then what? You knock Spencer out of title contention, and then Cyborg leaves, and then bleh. So
unless they're like,
oh,
if you win, you just get the rematch guaranteed at 145. But who knows? But I think she might go to Bellator, like Scott Coker. Is there? They obviously have past relationship.
Yeah, just more options because she's fighting Ryzen.
100%.
Do kickboxing. Yeah. So I think this will be Cyborg's last fight.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up.
Wrapped. So, anything else you want to say?
No.
Hot takes or nothing like that?
Was I not hot enough today?
No.
No.
I think people were expecting.
No.
Casey's A-side debut. Equivalent to Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. Just fireworks promised and nothing happened.
Was I Derek Lewis or? Oh,
that's up to you.
Well, I had a bad back. That was my issue.
You had a bad back and you were gun shy.
I was gun shy.
So, a lot of hype on this. But I'm Jose. That's Casey. This has been the A-side. The audio will be up on all the usual places. We're gonna be back to our usual format next week, where I don't know who's gonna be joining me. I know the comment section really wants Pete Carroll back, so maybe we bring Pete back. I'll have to see what he was supposed to come back last week, but he was in Stockholm doing his job. But I'm Jose. That's Casey. We're in Chicago for UFC 238. You can check out the YouTube page, the site. Damon Martin's had a bunch of interviews up since he's joined. AK and Jed and Danny and everyone and Guillermo and Pete are doing their thing on the site, and obviously the YouTube channel. We're going to have tons of workouts and media days and everything. So see you over there. And for this episode of the A-side, we're out. A-side?
Are we live?
You're listening to the Vox Media Podcast Network.